My name is Brittany Green, and I'm a new music composer. When I compose, I like to go by the name Brittany J. Green because I like to use my middle initial. I currently live in Durham, North Carolina, and I'm actually from North Carolina, and have lived in various parts of North Carolina throughout my life. I like to identify as a woman, and my preferred pronouns are she, her, and hers. I enjoy writing music that combines sound, text, and sometimes movement to create moments of reflection and community for my audience. My primary medium is acoustic instruments, or instruments that produce sound without the aid of electronics, like flutes, pianos, and violins. Sometimes I do like to incorporate digital electronics into my music. When I first begin writing a piece, I like to start with an idea, either a musical idea or a philosophical idea that I want to express and develop musically. I then begin a combination of sketching, planning, drawing, and improvising until I end up with a rough idea of how I want the piece to unfold. From there, I begin composing a first draft of the piece. I always write my first draft by hand on manuscript paper, unless I'm composing an electronic piece, in which case I typically use Pro Tools or Maximus P. During the composition process, I may reach out to friends that play the instruments that I'm writing for and ask them questions about how to create sounds on their instrument, playing techniques, or ask about the playability of a specific passage that I'm composing. After I've written the first draft, I step back from the piece for a few days. Then I come back with a fresh mind and begin the editing process and engraving. After that, I do a couple more edits, and then I send the piece off to the performer or performers that I'm writing for. When I'm not composing a specific piece, I like to give myself prompts. These prompts might be statements and ideas, they might be text to set, or they might be boundaries or limitations that I give myself to compose in, like only writing with certain instruments, certain rhythms, pitches, timbres, etc. Then I typically give myself a short amount of time, like 30 minutes or an hour, to write in, and then after that I do the sketch and I save them. And sometimes they actually end up in pieces that I write later down the line. As a composer, I spend a lot of time collaborating with other people to create my music. Whether I'm working with musicians who sing or play different instruments, dancers, visual artists, or technologists, I always enjoy the opportunity to create new music with other people and to learn from different perspectives. For me, this, along with the process of taking a raw idea and developing it to its full potential, are the most exciting aspects of creation. Ever since I was a child, I was always a very creative person and was always very drawn to visual art and music. But my first memory of composing a piece of music is actually when I was 11 years old. The very first piece of music I composed was for a soprano clarinet. The piece was about the rock cycle and was composed for a project for my earth science class. Once I got to high school, I started composing a lot more frequently, and I often arranged and composed music for my band to play. This is when I really found my passion for composing music and knew that I wanted to pursue it as a career. The first time I felt like a professional artist was when I received my first commission. It was a small commission for work for piano. Other than for performance gigs, it was the first time I'd gotten paid to create a piece of music. But what I realized after that is that the most important aspects of being a professional artist are the time and care that you put into your art and the commitment to developing your art to its fullest potential. It's also not about worrying about becoming a professional artist and just being professional in your artistic practice. This means spending your time focused on creating, collaborating, and forming meaningful experiences for your audience. Now, this is not to say that the business side of art isn't important, like contracts, money, and applications. But if you focus on creating and put that at the focal point of your practice, the rest will follow suit. Okay, so here's a creative prompt for you. I want you to listen to the first 15 minutes of Morton Feldman's Palais de Marie. As you hear a new sound, I want you to take a marker, a colored pencil, or a crayon and draw a line. Make sure that each sound has its own color. As sounds intersect, I want your lines to intersect. And I want you to look at the picture you have at the end and see the visual representation of how the sounds are woven together and how they blend together and intertwine and separate throughout the piece.